In this video, I want to show you guys how to sprue up a wax tree and get it ready for casting. We're going to need a rubber base, some sprue wax, and a soldering iron. So I'm going to cut a length a little bit longer than I actually need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually squeeze the end of it and just give it a little taper, because then it's going to fit in to the base like so. Now let's get started. This particular wax is injected, so it's already got a little sprue on the end, so that makes it a little bit easier because we don't have to add a sprue, and we're just going to attach it to the top. We're going to do that on a little bit of a 45 angle. So when I'm spruing my waxes onto the tree, so I start from the top and then work my way down. I'm going to melt the wax and we're going to stick it on. We've got the soldering iron set at a slightly lower temperature, and we're going to melt the wax. Make it a little shorter. We're going to hold for about maybe 5 seconds. We're going to add a little bit more wax around there. I want to make sure there's no holes that could trap investment. Instead of using a scalpel to cut it, I'm just going to use the iron, and that'll melt the end. Same again. Hold for a few seconds. Need to add a little more wax. I thought this would be a good video to do because we've actually got a few different types of waxes on this one. So we've got some injected waxes here. Then we've got a lost wax setting that I'm doing here. And then next, we've got another lost wax ring that we're going to put on there. And then we've got this big ring, which is probably about 150 grams of silver. This is going to be sprued up a little bit different to how we do all the other pieces. This technique actually works pretty well for me. Most of the time I do it, it turns out pretty darn good. So I'll show you how it's all done. So I've got this one running from the middle, and I'm actually going to add some pieces to here. I'll add these pieces later after I've attached the rings. So when we're working on it, the tree is sitting upright like this. When we do the burnout, it'll be in a cylinder and the wax is going to dribble out this way. So when we do the casting, you turn the flask up this way, and then the silver is going to drop down in there. So we want everything to have a nice smooth entry point as the silver goes in. Where the wax was, there's obviously going to be nothing there. We want the silver to drop in there nicely and hopefully get a perfect cast. The other thing that we want to make sure of is when we are putting the waxes on, we want to fill this whole area with the wax so there's no little holes and it's all nice and smooth, because we don't want little bits of investment trapped in there, and that could be an issue when you're casting because it might break off and then end up in the casting when you've got investment in your piece of casting. So that's one thing that we don't want to have. So this is a ring that we've hand carved, and what I've done here is I've got a bit of wax. So I've had a piece of wax like this, and then I've rolled it out, basically squashing it in my fingers. I've soldered it on using the soldering iron. Sorry, there's something very important I've got to tell you guys. Subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. Now back to the video. Time to add this ring to the tree. I'll show you how it's done. First, find a good spot. We want to place it at a 45-degree angle, making sure it's not hitting any other pieces. Very important to have nothing touching. Just melt it and push it on. Now I just need to smooth it out by adding a little more wax. What we're going to do with this piece is we're actually going to sprue it so it runs through the middle like this. I've got this piece of wax which I'm going to add in here like so. This wax melts at a very low melting point, so I've got the soldering iron on a very low heat, just a little bit above 150. Melt the top first, then I'll do the bottom. Give it a little push, then I'll add a little more wax. Now I have to try and add some wax to the inside. Careful not to hit the green wax with the iron, because it could end up melting your ring. Now we're going to attach this bad boy to the tree. It's a little bit of a different technique, because what we're going to do is attach it to this part here. So what's going to happen is The silver is going to come up the tree, and then it's going to shoot off to each side, pouring silver from the inside of the ring band, and hopefully we're going to end up having a perfect cast. Now what I'm going to do now is I am going to use the big soldering iron. I'm going to heat that up a little bit because I'm going to need a bit more heat to get rid of some of the wax from inside here. This iron's getting pretty warm now, so you'll be able to see. Now you can see what I've done here, melted this section out, and we should be able to slide this down in there, but I need a little bit more angle. Using the same technique, melt the wax and hold in place. You can see it's a little bit high, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take a bit off the end. That just means we're going to use a lot less silver if we just take off about 10-15 mil, and that just means that we're probably going to save maybe a few dollars in silver. Just going to knock off that much there, and a little bit of force. Now it's time to add some extra sprues to the setting. As it's a thin wax, we need a couple more entry points. 2 on this side should do. Now we've got everything on the tree. The last step is we want to add some wax around the base. This is important. We need it smooth. No holes, as this could trap investment. Remember, this is the entry point for the metal to be poured into. The last thing we need to do is weigh the wax and the base. Thanks for watching, and there's more videos coming. But if there's a topic you guys want to know more about, leave a comment below. And you might want to check this video out here on the investing process.